Now this coffee, I drink Nespresso because I live in New York and I find that the coffee shops are incredibly inconsistent, and I would rather know exactly what I'm getting, and an espresso is very consistent. So I just opt for my $2 pods, save some money, and save the heartache when I have to throw out a $7 cappuccino because it tastes disgusting. I want to talk about an all or nothing mindset. Recently, I'm starting to realize that an all or nothing mindset is exactly what you need. It's exactly what we need to achieve everything we want to achieve. I think we have become far too obsessed, like the pendulum has swung too far towards trying to find balance. And I actually think now it's balance that's the enemy. So an all or nothing mindset is the exact mindset that creates greatness. If you think about anyone you consider great, for me, that is obviously going to be Beyonce. Nothing about her work ethic is balanced. She gives her all into her work, and that is exactly why she is successful, and that is why she continues to be successful, right? The reason I think Beyonce is such a great example is because she was not an overnight success. She's been in this game for like 27 years. So 27 years of giving her all to her craft, to her work, is what has cultivated her brand, what has created the success that she now has and continues to have, and that she will continue to have well into the future. My thought process, now that I've been considering this, is that life is not a marathon. Life is a series of sprints and periods of rest. Life is not this constant, just like pounding on the pavement, just at the same pace constantly. That's not life at all. And I think we all know that. It's a series of periods of intensity. So periods where we're sprinting or we're training, where you're working really hard, or when you're really, really into your creative work, or you're training really hard. And then that is balanced with, right, the nothing. So you have the all, the training, the sprinting, that is balanced with the nothing, with the periods of rest, with the periods of recovery. So it's the execution and then it's the rest. That is all or nothing, right? It's train, then recover. That's how we work out. We go into the gym and we give our all, and then we go home and we do nothing, because that is when we are rebuilding. And you could think of that in terms of, if you're a creative person, that is when you are letting your work speak for itself, and then recreating and inspiring yourself, being inspired by the world around you. So all or nothing is the balance. For myself, the greatest results have always come from me giving my all. Always. I've never received something worthwhile by half-assing it or just trying to prioritize this idea of mediocrity. Like when I think of balance, I think of mediocrity. I think of this like a constant 5 out of 10, right? Just because I don't want to give too much, because I don't want to overexert myself, but I can't give too little because I got to give something, if that makes sense. And anytime I've achieved something worthwhile, I've truly given my all. And there's been several times I've given my all and I haven't been successful in the way that I wanted, but I was able to learn from that experience. So I would still deem it as successful, because learning is still success. I was watching this or listening to this like motivational video or whatever on YouTube the other day, and it was one of those that like has the montages playing while someone is speaking. So I don't know who said this. If you do, please comment below and give credit where it's due. But an interviewer said to this person, "Perfect is the enemy of good." And the person's response was, "Good enough is the enemy of humanity." I think that quote summarizes perfectly this idea of balance and trying to prioritize balance versus really embodying this all or nothing mindset, because that is exactly what's going to get you where you want to go. So this is a fitness account, and I'd be remiss if I didn't take advantage of that. I do call myself the fitness propagandist, so I want you to go all in on your fitness in 2025. Now, what does that mean for you? The good thing with this all or nothing mindset is that you get to define what all means to you, and you get to redefine it as you grow. So what your all is today won't be and shouldn't be what your all is in 5 months, 12 months, etc. What would it look like if you went all in on your fitness? What would that look like for you? How many steps would you be hitting a day? How would you eat? How would you recover? How would you train? How would you think about your body? How would your mindset change if you went all in on your fitness? How would you think? How would you move? How would you perceive hard work? Like, really go into the identity aspect of things. I apologize for struggling to come up with the perfect questions, but it should be personal to you. So you should really think about the things you would think, the things you would do, the things you would feel if you went all in on your fitness in 2025. And that should change over time. So don't think that, well, I wrote this down in the beginning of the year, so I have to like stick with this for the rest of the year. Revisit this once a month and redefine it for yourself. I think a good way to do this, and something that is frowned upon for whatever reason, is to commit to a challenge. Challenges work. Committing 30 days to something, committing 60 days to something, committing 75 days to something is a really great way to motivate yourself, right? So when we're starting to shift our identity, motivation is a tool we can use, and motivation is something you're going to have in the beginning, but motivation dwindles, right? Your willpower fades, your motivation fades, and what you're left with is habits, discipline, and consistency, right? And you need discipline, enough discipline to build the habit, and you need consistency to make that habit stick. I think a great way, like I said, to do this is to just commit to a challenge. You can commit to a 30-day challenge. Something I did at the end of last year was commit to a 75-day challenge. I did 75 hard, and that's because I found that I was in this like mindset of, well, I just need to be balanced, and like I'll just only work out 2 to 3 days a week, and I'll try to hit some steps. Everything was pretty vague, but balance was honestly a constant word in my mind. And it was something that I found myself constantly preaching to clients until I really took a step back to understand how that could actually be detrimental. And, we spoke about that earlier in the video. But I committed to doing 75 hard because sometimes you have to be extreme. Going to the other extreme, allowing the pendulum to swing the other way, only then will you understand and see how extreme where you started was. Does that make sense? It's like you don't realize you've been lazy until you've been extremely disciplined and consistent. It's only in hindsight can you see like, damn, I've been like fucking lazy. Like I haven't been living up to my potential. I haven't been living up to what I know I can do. So it's okay to be extreme. And again, you can define what that means to you. Like my extreme won't be your extreme, and so on. Hold yourself accountable. The reason I liked and chose 75 hard, I promise this is not like a 75 hard like promo video or whatever. But it's the idea that you have to do 75 days consecutively. If you miss a day, you have to start over. So that was my sense of accountability. Like, it's very easy to justify, well, I just missed a day, I'll get back. And if it's one day, that really is okay. But for me, I know building discipline and a habit, I would justify those days, and one day would turn it to 2 to 3, et cetera, et cetera. And that's how you get yourself into a rut, by constantly justifying and excusing missing a day or missing missing a workout or missing a meal, whatever it is. So hold yourself accountable, and a really good way that I held myself accountable through that challenge and continue to hold myself accountable just like throughout my life is in moments of weakness, asking myself who's in control. So for example, like when during the challenge, when I would have a craving, I would say, who's in control? Is this craving? Is this food? Is this cookie? Is this cereal in control? Or are you in control of this thing? Now, I think in these moments, it's very easy to like succumb to like, oh, well, I had a craving, or like, I really wanted it. Like, I can't control it. No, you can control it. Like, you are 100% in control in the moment. And I think just asking yourself that and bringing that question to the front of your mind will make you realize like, oh, I am in control. And when you make the right decision and you don't eat that thing, or you don't skip the workout, or you do wake up and don't hit snooze, you give yourself like a point, right? You give yourself, your future self a vote. If you build up enough of those no's or enough of those power plays in your favor, in your future self's favor, you will build an incredible amount of confidence, self-discipline, and just trust in yourself. And your ability to trust your own word is probably like the most powerful thing ever. Because when you tell yourself you're gonna do something, not only do you do the thing, but you believe that you're gonna do the thing. And I think a lot of why people like fail to reach their fitness goals is because they just don't even believe that it's possible. And the amount of times that they've told themselves that they're going to do it and don't do it, they have no self-belief, they have no self-trust. And why would they? Because you essentially lie to yourself all the time. So treat those moments of weakness, whether it's a craving or again, like you want to snooze or you want to skip a workout, treat them as these little tests. You're testing yourself to see if you're going to keep your word to yourself. Another tactic that I use in these moments of weakness is to act like I'm the main character, and not in the super like self-centered weird way that people like to do, but in a sense that you are the main character in your own movie, in your own life. But you know exactly how the movie ends, and the movie ends exactly how you want it to end. Now, what do you have to do to ensure that ending? Since you know how it ends, you can reverse engineer how the story goes. So play that character, play that out. And sometimes creating this like alter ego and playing into a character just like helps you dissociate just enough for you not to overthink all of these little decisions. I think that's a huge reason why a lot of artists, like performers, have an alter ego. You know, Beyonce has Sasha Fierce, Hannah Montana, and what was Hannah Montana's alter? It was Miley. What was Miley's last name? I'm gonna look this up. Hannah Montana Stewart. I'm like, I knew it was a Miley Cyrus in the dang show. Okay, yeah. Hannah Montana and Miley Stewart. Sometimes having, I think, this is again my assumption, but just having some separation makes it so you don't have to convince yourself to have the confidence to get on stage and perform in front of thousands of people, because this other version of you does that. And so creating that distance again can make some of these actions and decisions seem a little less daunting. So do a version of that for yourself. Don't be afraid to be a little extreme, because you being extreme will allow you to understand where you started. And I think oftentimes being a little extreme will make you realize that what you called extreme isn't extreme. I think like sometimes we're just scared to take action. And so we define the action as extreme. Like I wanted to do 75 hard a year ago. No, 2 years ago. I remember I wanted to do it. I think the first time I wanted to do it was during COVID, which was like 5 years ago. And then the second time I was seriously considering it was in 2022 or 2023. And I never did it because I decided that I wanted, or I thought about doing it, and then I would Google 75 hard and like go onto Reddit and YouTube, and then I would encounter a bunch of people saying like, oh, this is so extreme, you don't need to. I'm like, oh yeah, it is extreme. Like I should just be balanced and da da da. It's like, again, it's like the balance is an excuse, or at least it's being used as an excuse. Do the thing, take action, be a little crazy, be a little extreme, like be devoted, be a little obsessed. That is what is going to cultivate your greatness. Do it first and judge later. Like I always say, like in my content to my clients, online when I'm trying to help people out in the comments or whatever, like don't take my word for it. Whatever it is what you want to do it so you can test it and so you can have the experience doing it. And only in hindsight can you properly judge whether it was the right decision or whether it was extreme or not extreme. But do the thing first, have an action bias, and give it your all, okay? Life is not a marathon. Life is a series of sprints and periods of recovery. If you want to be great, if you want to be great in your fitness, if you want to have the body of your dreams, if you want to build a business, if you want to grow your social media, if you want to read 100 books this year, whatever it is, whatever goal you have, it doesn't matter. You have to change your mindset. You have to give it your all. You have to fully commit yourself. And once you fully commit yourself, you'll realize that this extreme, you'll realize that giving your all is exactly what it takes, and you might even enjoy it. In fact, you probably will. So I hope you got something from this video. If you did, please leave a comment below. Let me know if you like this format, and I will see you in the next one.